Evening, Rev. 7 o'clock in the evening, West Coast time, the 15th of July, 2024. Well, I'm not gassed out here in Roseman, California, that's for sure. How you doing, my friend? It got the fire out uh, later in the morning, about 10 acres, right in the Roseman area, so we got that taken care of. But the other fires are, a day at a time and more acreage burned, but more containment on the thing, hopefully. Air quality still sucks outside. I did not catch the RNC and Trump naming JD Vance. I didn't want to deal with everybody else on there. I was trying to see what else was on the news these days. We're losing a lot of good celebrities that we've been entertained with and entertained by, and kind of sucks to see them go. But such as things I still have to deal with anyway. Uh, and yes, I did catch the one concerning about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Interesting that we would have to use our villains, or quote unquote villains, as educational experiences to let us know what we consider acceptable and not. And a long time ago in the 12-step meetings, I was taught about being accountable, transparent, and responsible. And how not to play head games with people. I'm worried about a friend of mine. I haven't heard from him in a while. I don't know if he's got me blocked or not. He was having issues concerning about this one. And I've already sent videos about this one over to you, Rev. So I'm worried about him. Artist in recovery. Just meet this guy online, and I still think he's a cool dude. Yeah, it's supposed to be artist and then space N as right after M, and then you got recovery. And he worries me at times. I mean, I could try talking with him about politics, and when we talk about program, we're talking about recovery. No one's an expert in recovery. We just try to take it a day at a time and tell our story. Even the old timers are not experts, but they have their own issues. But my friend, how am I supposed to reach him? How am I supposed to reach him? I want to tell him, I want to give him, but it seems like whatever I send over to him just doesn't matter, I guess. Sucks when I lose people left and right, but then I guess that's my own hang up. I wanted him to understand I didn't blame him for anything, and I'm sorry for what happened. I was hoping maybe he would understand. I did a couple of tapes on this one, trying to talk to him about it. The other one I was a little bit more harsher, a lot more in his face. I really didn't want to do that to him, but I just wanted to let him know that despite the crap he's going through, some of the choices he's making right now, following anger, hatred, and I was worried about him falling off the wagon. I still am. I still am. I'd seen how people do that. Now, how does this relate with Marjorie Taylor Greene? Well, think of her and her ilk, the cultists at this point. Very intoxicated. I was even surprised Try this one. MSNBC got nailed. Just took themselves off the air and didn't even want to respond to the shooting or anything else like that. They come back tomorrow morning and like to see what the hell is going on. Because today they got taken off and they didn't want to respond about the RNC at all. Not one bit. So the morning crew from 2 to 9, I'm going to be listening to when I get up early in the morning on this one. Because I really want to see and I really want to know what's going on with these guys. Do I care? Well, yeah, actually I do somewhat. I want to see where the pundits are going at this point. The others picked up on it. We're at the RNC, but this one, they really don't like Trump. And they also can't stand Marjorie Taylor Greene either. Remember those 3 words I mentioned about accountability, transparency, and responsibility? These people choose this. They make the choice. And I guess that's where the frustration and being ticked off of it is, because they made the choice and not our choice. How dare they? No, it's they made a choice that, yes, it does hurt other people. It does. I see Madam Psychotic's at it again. Someday she's actually able to race over here, and I'm afraid she's going to burst her heart. But once she gets on a tear, it's the reason why I don't open that front door. It's locked. I mean, she can go to the pads and she can do her business. I'll have to take care of it, no problem. But she can run around in the apartment all she wants. And I have to be accountable, transparent, and responsible for that one. But when it comes down for someone else's remarks, that they know better and they're going to be mouthing everybody else, and I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming. I mean, it was inevitable. As soon as somebody took a shot at a guy in the old gas bag, I knew this shit was going to happen. And there was going to be after effects on this one I was afraid of. I feel like I said, I told you so, I told you so. But I guess maybe I was looking for a little bit of hope in the situation over here, saying that maybe it'll get better. Or has it gotten worse yet before it gets better? Or are we going to be crumbling into near death before everything else goes crazy? Or are we supposed to be crumbling into death? And the hardest thing when you're trying to have faith is to put things into perspective and put it into God's hands, because things like this, we want control. We don't want what we fear happening. I know that. I'm watching it run up and down here. I want to stop her like crazy, but she's on automatic right now. I think she's either having too much fun or she's totally demented. So I have to keep an eye on her to see if she's not going to do anything stupid. She scares me more than Marjorie Taylor Greene, because this is actual, this is real, this is happening in real time period here. Before she got into the situation, I guess it was around when David and I were here in the apartments, or actually earlier than that. We played games on her where she would be running around like crazy and she enjoyed herself. And even after David passed away, I still play games on my dog during those days. Get into a pirate growl or something like that and come up to her, make some remarks, and that would set her off. And she'd run around all over the damn place, but at least she'd be watching out where she was going. And I was also afraid of her falling down and tripping over things and breaking her neck or something like that. In his current stage, yeah. My little jackrabbit, I'm gonna get my little jackrabbit. Ooh, I'm gonna get my little jackrabbit. I'm gonna get my little jackrabbit. I'm gonna do a little dancing jake over here. I see her and she's looking at me like, I go, I'm gonna get my jackrabbit. I'm gonna get my jackrabbit. Oh, I'm gonna get my jackrabbit. And when they do, she'd start running around all over the damn place. Especially when I got her at the couch. She's laying on the couch. She's watching me. She's dancing up like crazy. Ooh, I'm gonna get that little jackrabbit. Ooh, I'm gonna get my little jackrabbit. Running around all over the damn place. She's got that playing in her head right now. I'll have to tell her I don't have to say anything. But once she gets triggered, she gets triggered. She can't get down on the couch as much. And how is this different than dealing with reality check? With politics and everyone else freaking out left and right? I have to look at what I've got right now, Rev. I know the politics is important for a lot of people. The election isn't tomorrow. It isn't today. Sure the hell wasn't yesterday. But my dog is here now. And I have to take care of that bit of priority now. I can hear all the damn media pundits talking about their crap left and right. They've got, years and years of stuff like that. And you know what I end up watching? Different television shows, but this time I'm watching what was on HBO called The Newsroom. Now, back in the 90s, Adam Sorkin wrote the series for West Wing using D.D. Myers, used to be press, on how the West Wing operated. And it was a hell of a series for about 8 seasons. Now you got Newsroom for about 2.5 seasons. I hate it when they killed off Sam Waterston's character. But this one would have fit in today's times. Some of the themes relevant to it. And I'd used that as the educational reference. But for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be educational, like, I don't want to be like her because I'm too special. And the thing is, I look at it as an ego situation. I look at it as a head game situation. Yeah, I don't want to choose to be like her because I make that choice. But then again, am I going to be condemning everybody else for that choice in the first place? Oh, you following that person? Well, you must be this and you must be that. I'm doing the same damn head game they would be doing at this point. And unfortunately, I'm also trapped in the same situation. If you're this way, then why the hell am I associating with you on this one? I mean, how dare you? And if I happen to start following that particular line of logic, then I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. Like, I know better. I don't know any better. I'm sliding all over the scale at this point over here, but I do not want to be a Trumplicant, a cult follower. But then again, which cult am I following? Am I going to be atheist and agnostic at this point? But I can't be that one either. I had no choice when I was burned. I had no choice at the age of 4 years old. They only had to instill the religious doctrine in me of what I'm going to be following in a format that, that I could try understanding of what I went through. And they still don't have it right. Methodism doesn't have it right. Because unless they've already been there, they don't know it. They don't know that experience. And trust me, that experience is still scary as hell sometimes. I don't dream about death, thank God. I dream about going other places and having adventures or misadventures. Having creatures chase me or people chase me. Or funny thing is, I'm not being chased by my dog either. I'm not chasing after her. Just going someplace or doing something. Handling situations that seem to be obscure and weird. Work in a retail store and you're working all these aisles and things like that. You're either ringing things up or processing things, and it's all different. But reality would tell me in a different format as well. And then you had the politicians But not one of them actually entered my dream to give me a nightmare. Not one of them. Thank God. I did have a dream recently with my brother in a rainstorm. We're trying to hit the place. He was bringing something. I was trying to get something. And he wants to stop and sit at a table while it's raining on him. And it's a downpour. Now, either my bladder was trying to tell me that I had to go, or else there was a different meaning altogether. I haven't told my therapist about this one yet. Yeah, some things I usually keep it too close to the chest on this one. But when it comes down for hatred and vitriol like that, I mean, this is the thing I had to talk with my friend about. I mean, shit, he was going crazy over this one. Conspiracy theories coming out of his mouth at this point over here, and I was still hearing the anger and vitriol. As I was trying to explain in the other videos concerning about his girlfriend, his fiancée, I mean, it was an off and on relationship with him, with her, both of them, and she chose Trump. She listened to the Pied Piper. You ever read the story or actually heard about the story of the Pied Piper? I only saw the movie when I was a young kid. I made a colorized version of the damn thing. So I really didn't understand it as much until later on in life. And I was starting to get to understand the damn thing. Siren call. You want to put it into a different perspective? Try the Odyssey. Try the Iliad. Actually, try the Odyssey by Homer. How Odysseus was trying to get from the Trojan War back home to Ithaca. A lot of his men gone, died. He made it back home. His wife fought like crazy with the suitors. Property was almost spent, so was the money. And the throne would have been whoever was the suitor to his wife. They all believed that Odysseus was dead. Odysseus came back, saw his grown-up son, saw his old dog, and his old dog died on him. He stayed as long as he could just to see his old master, and then he was content. Then Odysseus took his great bow, a hunting bow, and there went the competition. Target practice. But in the adventures that he was having, he was fighting monsters left and right, trying to get back home. Homer was trying to make it into a situation here over here. But then again, you have to look at it in a metaphorical context sometimes of what he was going through and what everyone else was going through. Guys trying to kill each other over a damn war. And the war was over a woman. You talk about things that would get misinterpreted a great deal in this one. Woo. So even Greek tragedies had something to teach us one way or another. And so did this one. One of them was dealing with the sirens. And that is the Pied Piper right there. In a certain passage that his ship and crew were trying to get past, it was known for shipwrecks because they would listen to the siren's voice and the beautiful singing, and it would drive the sailors mad as their ships would run into rocks left and right, and then there were open season for the carnivorous women, sea nymphs, or mermaids they would call them. Very hungry ones too. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of the Pirates of the Caribbean, Walt Disney's movie. One of the versions. I think it was number 4. They were talking about this one particular bay where the sirens were in there. And they were very carnivorous for human flesh. Taken into a metaphorical example here, Rev. What are we getting devoured more by? Not by news buttons, by the roll of emotions. Everyone's idea thinking of what we should be doing, seeing, examining. We should be doing it their way. And they would be upset because we didn't do it their way. Why? Because we didn't do it their way. Why not? You didn't do it that way. Why not? Don't you understand? You must do this. Here comes the fangs. coming out, Now you're going to do this because I'm a shag here. And I'm going to get you, my sweetheart. I'm going to check out the fear now for me doing this overacting here and this over dramatic example here. I'm going to raise my hand and my fingers in a menacing way. I'm going to lunge him at you either slowly or quickly to rise up the fear because I thrill on it. I want your fear and your anger, don't you understand? You okay? Yeah, I can go a little bit crazy on my own videos concerning about the situation, but an example in itself is what we're dealing with here. As I'm examining it in my own damn viewpoints, people want it their way and they want more people in it because the more they have, the more power and the more influence, the more ego, the more and more and more and more and more and more and more. Good Lord. It's like a voracious black hole that just never gets filled up. Has a tendency of sucking up everything that comes into its maw and its grip, and nothing comes out of it, except maybe except neutrinos, quasars, and God knows what else coming out of it. Are there any survivors of the original material? Mm-mm. But maybe coded materials of it anyway. We're talking about science. Little things I learn about here and there. Try to learn about a little bit cosmology. I try to put things in a metaphorical attitude anyway. We're all in for metaphors. We're all in for looking for the examples, what we need to talk to people about, and to make sure that they understand what we're talking about. We look at the book, and sometimes we're looking at the metaphors, and sometimes people are thinking it should have been realistic. I think Christ had more of an issue with the metaphors than dealing with the realistic situation. Because he wanted to make examples of it, but if he was going to be making examples, why couldn't he just tell them plain and blunt on this one here? Saying you can't kill because there's a consequence for it. You can't steal because there's a consequence for it. And you're still in the wife's man, there's a major consequence on that one there. And you're not worshiping God this way? Oh boy. But God still wants you to love people. He wants you to accept them as the way they are. He did not put in a metaphor, or he did not put in the phrase, or else. The threat. Of course, there was an implied threat in the Ten Commandments. What says, thou shalt not, or shall be no other false gods. There'll be, hell, hang on. I know you got it there. I don't. Give me a minute. All right. I'm not looking at the movie. I just want to look at the. All right, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? List it. I don't want the wick. I don't want the wick. What I want, I'll do the Bible Gateway. And without the international version, thank you very much. No, I don't want that version. No, I'll do the King James. Sorry. I read the Bible in King James version of it. So now I gotta wait for the computer to start working on this one here. Okay, I don't. Okay, I was really looking for something else, but this is according to Exodus 20. I'm Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt not have no other gods before me. Shall have no. You're not going to have any other gods before me. I mean, that is an implied threat right there. He already made the statement first off, saying, "I'm the asshole that took you out of bondage over here, and you ain't going to have any other gods except for me. Got it?" Sounds like my mother half the time. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is the water under the earth. Okay, so I've got on to ask this one. I mean, we're talking about Egyptian gods or Poseidon, Neptune, that kind of situation over here. I mean, was this actually before we actually had Greece kicking in with the Greek gods, and then Roman with the gods after that? But then again, any graven image or any likeness of anything that is heaven above. And the problem is, Reverend, we do. I mean, there are certain doctrines out there that actually do have graven images, either by picture or by something else. And I don't have that over here anymore. I don't. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. And showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. We're talking about an atheist or agnostic. They'll probably say, "Who the hell you think you are?" Well, I know who I am. I'm an image of clay. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot. I was saved for a reason I have no idea. So, what should have been giving me reason to worship God with all my heart instead of with a lot of fear and trepidation at this point. Because I didn't know what the hell was going on after the heart operation. Thou shalt not take the Lord thy God name in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. I'm going to have to get a rereading on that one there. But then again, all swearing in God's name is not exactly the one he likes in the first place. No, kind of takes him off a bit. A bit? Yeah. I'm really going to have to work on that one. And the other thing is it Sunday the Sabbath or is it Saturday the Sabbath? I'm not quite sure. They keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not do any work. Thou nor thy son or thy daughter, thy manservant, maidservant, thy cattle, thy stranger that is within thy gates. Okay, so basically they don't get fed, they don't get watered, they don't get milked. They don't get protected. And we don't get food cooked. That's why we had 6 days, but they didn't have any refrigeration. That's screwed up right now one here. In the 6 days God made heaven and earth, sea, and all in them, and rested on the seventh day, and therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath and hallowed it. Although we got a problem concerning about our Gregorian calendars these days, don't we? Honor thy mother and thy father, thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And that's another thing. Yeah, my mother, I will. The biological sperm donor, that's the thing I still have to work on all the time. I got an issue with that one. Thou shalt not kill. Well, I got a lot of insects says otherwise. Thou shalt commit adultery. Well, how am I committing adultery? Except you're going into rotten sites and screwing up your brain, then that's probably committing adultery. Thou shalt not steal. And that's a problem with me. I've stolen in my lifetime. Stolen ideas, stolen items since I was a kid. Yeah. 10 figures have a sticky thing of taking things and then getting my ass kicked by mama. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Well, Did anybody else family members? Because I did that a lot. I lied. I cheated. I stolen. I murdered insects. But if you also want to say thou shalt not kill, it should also put animals in there too. And yes, I've had family members committed to death. I consider my animals family members, and therefore I have killed. Thou shalt not covet anything in thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, or manservant, or maidservant, or ox, or anything else that is thy neighbor's. Yeah, I did look at stuff, but I didn't want to take anything from them, except maybe friendship, love, support. Of all that stuff, I know it goes off more and more into this, but most of that stuff we get to slam on the Ten Commandments readings, short and sweet, and we've done that for a long time. It's one thing to have that taught at home and in church, and then when you get to politics involved, all hell breaks loose on that one because we don't want the religious theology or deism being put into politics at any choice or any time. Because now we get to deal with Sharia law, Taliban situation. They try to find something that people will lock onto and they want absolutes. And I'm discovering more and more there are no absolutes these days anymore. There's always uncertainty. Things I have to hold on to inside. I still pray for more guidance on it and more help on it. Maybe that makes me a doubting Thomas of sorts, but I can't deny Christ. I can't deny God. Having experienced that in my life, those connections, I cannot and will not. And maybe an added choice and that statement there, maybe that'll give me a little bit of peace of mind after everything else is going hell in a handbasket at this point. Because that's the thing concerning about this one. We don't give into fear, and if we happen to say screw the faith that we have, and just delved into the insanity of it all, then we become just like everybody else. We become a raging lunatic like everybody else. They want us to follow them, follow them. Yeah, you know what scares the hell out of me? There's a cliff coming over here. And everybody's heading over there because the leader's saying, follow me, I know the path. Ah! And they're all tied to each other. Not one person will be able to get out of the damn thing because they're falling in like a group. One by one, pulling everybody else down. And if somebody was going to be hanging on for dear life, they're going to be dealing with the weight of those who have already fallen before them into the pit. Hell of a nightmare, isn't it? Should scare the hell out of us. I tried to read in Revelation somewhere in there concerning about this long ass slimy thing. When they're sent down, they can't get traction to get back up. And it's impossible. You ever seen the works Dante? When he had Dante's Inferno, and then Purgatory, and then there was Heaven. I was reading stuff about this one in English Lit. And talking about it too with the professors on these things. We can make all the things we can about how horrific hell can be towards us, all the monstrous things. And we would have gothic galore on that. But how do you envision something so pure, so heavenly? We just always do the clouds and light, and that's about it. Sometimes I wonder if that's the only person or interpretation we have over it. Of course, people will be screaming and yelling and saying, "No, no, no, that's not right, that's not right," or probably yelling and screaming at God or angels. No, 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 we want that. We desire that. Don't you understand? Yeah, I think I've got too much on my mind. I'm sorry, I wasted time again. One of these here, Reverend, one of these here days, Reverend, we have to have a live. At least if I can get you onto Zoom one way or another. At least, get a chat going on. I don't mind having the conversations I have with Jamie because sometimes I put up the front. I put up the facade. And when I get discouraged like crazy, I don't want her to see it. But she's already got the information because I've already told her about it. And all the things I keep answering on the questionnaires, she knows in charts. And by the numbers that she's looking at, I agreed with her. I'm that much of a screwed up human being. I don't point the finger at anybody on it. At least I try not to these days. I mean, I could have blamed everybody or blamed God for everything and just kept up with the anger and vitriol. But I have to keep asking myself, is it worth it? Because I'm seeing people like that in front of me, including the people I care about. And the ones who are caught up in this whole damn cycle. It still scares me. It still pisses me off, Reverend. I don't mind it if you had one of your other fellow clergy watching these things and scratching their heads in confusion. I'd be doing it too. Consider me a nut job. Yeah, I'm always denigrating myself like that. I'm not saying I'm a worthwhile human being. I'm just one screwed up human being. I'm a full of an idiot. But I know God didn't create a fool of an idiot. I just kind of redesigned myself that way sometimes. But if I happen to start thinking I'm worthy, then I'm giving my pride, my ego, that much of a boost. And I can be a real arrogant asshole. And I hate that. Shove images down your throat left and right, one way or another. That's pushing an ego, and I don't want to do that anymore, Reverend. Never again. I used to like wearing pins, and I'd be shoving the things right in people's faces. Just the images and the attitude. I can't do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. Anyway. I'll talk at you later, Reverend. I'll let you know what happened tomorrow. The Maltus.